Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Beacon TVL show, Total Value Locked. We're here with the show every week. We talk to you about what's going on in the world of on-chain finance for you, our dear users. So good to see you. I am your host, Chris, the DeFi Professor. Got a great show lined up for you today as we get ready to talk about the news. We got the grand return of one of my favorite people in this space. He is that dude. He is like my brother from another mother. He is the head of growth at Vanta Taoshi, subnet number 8 BitTensor. Luke is back on the show, the most handsome face that brings people to this place. Good to see you, man. How
Hi,
are
man.
you?
Good, man. Thanks for having me back. Always a pleasure. We're just chugging along, man. It's a busy time. Summer in the U.S., so that's good. Not too much. How we doing?
Doing pretty good. I did want to talk to you a little bit about, man, we should probably talk about the markets for like a quick second. Well, probably more than a
Oh
quick
yeah.
second. But for those who maybe, if you woke up and you're like, what the hell is going on? It's not the greatest market right now. Looking at coin market cap here, we saw a huge crash over the weekend, which really geopolitics. You could also say that word of an Anthropic and a SpaceX IPO is getting a lot of people selling to just to cover just to get into cash positions to be able to buy in these what will be gigantic $1 trillion IPOs. We also had MicroStrategy for Michael Saylor selling BTC specifically for the purpose of helping to cover their dividends for STRC and a couple other things. So with Bitcoin being the tide that raises and of course can also lower all ships, Luke, we saw quite the move down for Bitcoin all the way down to 60, even wicking below that. So yeah, it's been quite an interesting ride over the last 7 days, we'll call it. Uh, what are your basic thoughts based on everything you've been seeing? Of course, with Vanta being such a huge signal processor, with everything you're seeing, feel free to just give a little bit of your perspective on what
Yeah.
we should be seeing here.
Yeah. So this has kind of been what I've been expecting for quite some time. I think we saw that bounce up to, I think it was 82, and people started to turn bullish. I started to see the timeline posts. We're gonna go back to all-time high, blah blah, whatever. To me, the whole time it was just a mid bear cycle dead cat bounce. So I held my bias unnervingly. I was a little scared that maybe we would go higher. Obviously, we're back down to 60s. I personally took a small initial position, planning to continue to DCA down below 60. I think, I posted a brief analysis about it on X the other day. My expectation from here for Bitcoin really is probably, I had said, I think on X, just, I think it's going to stall out here because at like 64 or something, I think it's going to stall out soon and head sideways, which it looks like it's starting to do. So I probably wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of chop for at least weeks, if not a month or two, and then probably one more leg down to kind of close out the bear cycle. So that's what my anticipation is at this point. Obviously, this is a Trump market, so kind of anything can happen. Um, it seems like there's obviously a lot of factors at play, like you touched about the Anthropic IPO, OpenAI, SpaceX. I believe is on Friday, if I'm not mistaken, right? It's Friday.
I think so. Yeah,
I think
I
it's
mean,
Friday.
obviously, there's a lot of liquidity moving around. I think just for people positioning
Yeah.
themselves to figure out how they're going to do this.
Yeah, I think, I personally am not going to be a buyer of SpaceX IPO. Maybe it pumps, maybe it doesn't. Maybe if it eventually comes back down, it could be a good spot to buy. But, I've seen a bit of doomerism on the timeline too, like, this is the most obvious top ever. I tend to disagree because everyone is saying it. So I don't think this would be a market-wide top, but, at some point, I feel like, the you would I know it's kind of a tired narrative, but you'd think that eventually you're going to see liquidity start to run down the risk curve back to Bitcoin. But we start to see Bitcoin prices probably sub 60K. My bottom target is probably between 45 and 55.
Okay.
It's pretty attractive price. If you got liquidity upstream, you got a ton of stock market gains. I know people always talk about it and say, liquidity is going to come back down. It's going to trickle down. It's hard for me to see where it wouldn't. If you're up a ton on your big AI positions, why you wouldn't want to maybe rotate down the risk curve a little bit, especially at those prices for Bitcoin. But we'll see. That's just my personal bias. There's a lot of people who I'm close to who share similar biases, but I think that we're slowly but surely headed for her bottom here. If it's not already in, I think it's a good spot to be DCAing if you believe in Bitcoin long term anyway. So that's
Absolutely.
where
And
my head's at.
yeah, we've been talking about this on the show for months now, that I've been expecting just this sideways move. And if you're willing to be chopped to death, that's fine. But if you'd rather be doing liquidity and hedging and delta neutral and all these other positions, this first half of the year should have been pretty good for you overall. So, for the majority of our community, we've been talking about just hunkering down, continuing to ride out the waves, grinding out DCA targets, stablecoin, fixed rate farming, anything that's available that isn't truly affected by massive volatility leverage moves. Uh, I think we're going to continue to, as you said, stay sideways, stay range bound. I still think Bitcoin sticks around 60 to 80 for, I'm going to say, another 3 to 4 months. With that said, one thing I mentioned last week on the show, Luke, is that we're in a situation now with the U.S. and Iran and Israel where one of two things is going to happen. We're going to see either a supreme act of humility or a supreme act of force.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that things are looking right now, I feel like the force option is most likely going to happen on the table, which if it does, I mean, we just saw a whole bunch of liquidity just in the precious metals markets yesterday. Just huge drops overall. So I don't know for pricing in that type of move, but I do think that, man, there's just so much, there's been so much market manipulation, right, over the last, 3 months at least, that it's
Yeah,
hard to
there's
really
definitely been some
say,
insiders playing.
oh, for sure. I just really hope that the market can brace itself for, um, what's to come, because
I
3 to 4
actually
moves is.
saw,
Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, no, I was gonna say I saw a tweet about this from March 25th. This guy tweeted on March 25th. Ceasefire in April, Hormuz opens, Trump declares victory, talks continue, sell in May, re-escalation, Hormuz closed again, which is where we're at now, I believe. So the guy's 7 for 7. So to kind of your point about force, that's why I pulled this tweet up again. The next parts that he has is threat of nukes, market nukes, ground invasion, China hints to invade Taiwan, North Korea missile test, BTC below 50K, by Q3, Q4, war ends, midterms, bull market starts. It's the TLDR of it. And, I think that's a probably pretty plausible scenario because, like you said, I think it's either going to be humility or force, and I don't think either side is willing to be do the humility stuff. I don't think it's in Iran's best interest, and I certainly
No.
don't think Trump is going to back down. So I think that's where we're at now. So, like I said, I mean, for me personally, I'm content to start DCAing here. I really do think it goes lower. And I've been bearish on this show on Bitcoin for probably 6 months, 6 to 8 months now, if not longer.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I'm starting to go, maybe should be a buyer here. So, I mean, obviously, I did take a small initial DCA position here, I think at 60.5 or something. So we'll see what happens, right? I mean, I think that this war is obviously kind of the invariable factor that it's a little bit hard to gauge. I think obviously, at this point, we've seen what Trump does. We can kind of gauge what things are going to be like to some extent. And like you said, it seems like we're headed for some level of re-escalation again. I mean, I think, let's see, yeah, stock market's down another percent today, just after Trump said that we were going to bomb them. So,
And he says, I love the inflation, because inflation is up to 4.5% or something like that. So
I didn't even see that. Oh my
yeah,
God.
and again, it just could have been framed that way. We're gonna get. I'm assuming we do get Fed Chair Warsh's first decision sometime soon, and if he chooses to hold rates, that would be very interesting. I don't think he does that with how he generally feels about uh, inflation in the past. With that,
Yeah.
and Hormuz is still closed, right? We're now in the middle of June. There's going to be maximum pain across multiple countries to the east of the Strait of Hormuz over the next 2 weeks if this does not get resolved. Even if it does not, it's going to take time for this commerce to kind of get restarted. And we're going to see countries, in Southeast Asia, in India, in Australia, possibly get down to really bad energy reserve issues, uh, which will affect multiple industries. Again, what comes out of Hormuz is not just oil, guys. We still have fertilizer. We still have gases for microconductors. And this is not even including what's happening with, the memory shortage, the price of storage. This is all going to be a huge pain point for the rest of the year. So, as you mentioned, Luke, DCAing into targets right now. I mean, we were looking at Micron, 2 weeks ago. It's up like 1,500%. If you had bought
Yeah.
it 6 months ago, it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the strategy. Like, it's funny, actually. I allocated some to stock market on like Wednesday of last week, and it
Hmm.
bombed out literally on Thursday. So that was annoying, but it's fine.
It's not,
I
yeah.
think we're due for a pullback of some kind, right? Like, that's why you DCA, and I think, for people in crypto, it's easy to kind of have your brain be warped a little bit. It's definitely something I've realized, like, holy shit, man, like I need to kind of reframe the way I'm thinking about markets in general.
Yeah.
So I think, especially in a market environment like this, I mean, best to take it easy, take it slow. You see what you can do. And personally, I mean, this is probably not a contrarian take, but like, I find it hard to want to, even look at like Ethereum, BNB, XRP, any of the top really altcoins. Seems like anything that's not Bitcoin or hyper liquid is kind of a major question mark at this point.
Yeah, I can understand that take. Let's take a second to look at bubbles real quick to see, because there are
Do it.
some narratives that are on the table uh, that are quite interesting. We'll talk about humanity in just a minute, but uh, why is World Liberty Financial up 10%?
I was
Uh,
just going to ask that.
that's interesting. Morpho up 13.5. We'll talk about that in a minute. But some of these others, Nexo returning to the United States. That's part of probably a lot of bullishness back on them. There will be more CEXs and other crypto adjacent companies coming back to the US, I think, over the next 6 months. I don't know if it's due to maybe just EU regulation in other spots, and the US probably won't have that. We'll talk about that in a minute as well. But some of these others are interesting, just kind of seeing where everything's at. We've seen Siren move up and down. That's just a really interesting agentic project that I would not put money in. VVV down 14%. AI Bubbles possibly under fire. Same with FET being down 4. Nothing here is really out of the ordinary, other than there's just a ton of volatility out there. So be very careful. I would not take a ton of leverage at this point at all. Obviously, trailing and stop losses are a given, regardless of what your ranges are, because, as Luke mentioned, bombing out, especially with everything going on, is very likely. So, fear and greed, we were at in the 50s not that long ago, back down to 15. It was 17, so there's more fear. Uh, And I just think that we're seeing a lot of things come to a head. And it's just going to, in my opinion, just be max pain. I don't think we have a very good landing at the end of this year, honestly, with everything going on. And if you are way too allocated into the degenerate side, as you mentioned, Luke, there's a lot of question marks out there. Eh. I
Yeah.
just wouldn't. I wouldn't go that route. Not
Yeah.
financial advice,
Better
of
to be
course.
safe. Better to be
Exactly.
safe, especially in crypto right now. I mean, I tend to think the stock market is going to probably continue. I think, I've went back and forth on it mentally. I think that the idea that it's a bubble is probably overplayed, if not complete nonsense.
Hmm.
In just in my opinion, obviously, seeing a lot of gains and efficiency boosts from AI. I think there's a lot to be said there, but also you're starting to see kind of things come to a head too in some ways. Like if you pay attention to Anthropic and Claude, you would know that they dropped Fable, I think yesterday or 2 days ago,
Yes.
whatever it was.
Yep. Yep.
Right. But, for a frontier model now, they're only offering it until June 22nd, which is interesting because that tells me, that obviously at this point, they've been subsidizing a lot of these token models for a long time, right? Like you pay a $200 a month subscription for the max plan, and the amount of tokens you get out of that is like thousands and thousands of dollars worth. But stuff's getting expensive, and at some point these companies need to become profitable. So I think maybe the stock market is starting to price some of that stuff in a little bit as we see that. Obviously, I think it was Thursday or Friday last week. Nvidia itself was down like 5%. So it seems to
Which
me like
is
maybe
which is interesting because Computex is going on right now, and they talked about the new RTX Spark chip that was coming out that could, frankly, revolutionize the way desktop computing is going to look moving forward.
right.
So, yeah,
It's
man.
an it's an interesting time in the market, man. It's really hard to say what's going to happen. The only thing I feel personally like confidence in is that we'll see Bitcoin bottom somewhere between 40 and 60 pretty broadly. I could see lower, like a quick wick or something. I mean, I don't know. It's Bitcoin, man. You never know what the hell's going to happen. So we'll see. Brace for impact.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Bracing for impact is going to be interesting, but that doesn't mean that people haven't stopped building, or shipping,
No.
or integrating, which is great to see. However, if one thing we've been seeing is H, which I don't see H on here anymore, but that was a huge issue. Basically, just to kind of go over what's going on. So, Humanity, uh, a protocol from Terence Kwok that was brought around to have zero knowledge proofs to help prove who you are as a human. Really interesting idea, raised a ton of money, got drained for $31 million in an attack due to a admin key compromise on a developer laptop with malware. Now, depending on how you want to look at this, one other issue is that, and this could have been from the compromising, following a contract upgrade, a backdoor was added that gave a privileged address the ability to execute special operations within the H token. Not sure on the timing of this. I'm not trying to tinfoil hat this all too much, but when you see stuff like this, and maybe the laptop's been compromised for a little bit. This is when you see things like this, and this is where people were crying foul that this is an internal job. Because someone had to approve this, besides just someone uploading this. So this is looking fishy, fishy, fishy. Now, we never talked about H. We were like, oh, that's interesting that they're up 200% and that they've gone straight parabolic. I know nothing about the protocol. I like the idea. Many people are building stuff like this. But, yeah, to see the idea that, and it's all on chain, by the way. Yeah, this is not good for anyone who is bullish on humanity. That sounds crazy.
I mean, insiders hacking themselves isn't a novel thing in crypto, so.
I know. That's the scariest part, right? They're like, oh my God, why would someone do that?
It happened in BitTensor.
Yep. It has. It's happened more than once.
Oh, I know.
So yeah, we now they have a lovely they have an incident update. They also have a transparency portal because they are very sorry for what's happened here. But yeah, the red flags are definitely here. This is the hardest part about looking at new projects, right? Because everybody's coming in, they talk to VCs, they're vetted, they're like, yeah, we totally uh, want to help do good things. And then you see things that very much question the integrity of a lot of people in this space. Uh, Not necessarily due to poor vetting, but it's like also by association, right? Because now you're gonna be like, well, why would you associate with someone like that? And it just finger pointing, and it's bad. This is not a good look at all for the industry. So, uh, just wanted to put that out there because we had talked about humanity a couple of weeks ago. Curious about how it even worked, and it's pretty much DOA at this point. There's no way
Yeah.
that this brand is going to move forward. In fact, look, if you see, I have the oh goodness, Ethos
I was
credit
just gonna
score.
say I went and looked at the chart. I didn't realize top to bottom they went 95% a day. Like they'll never recover from that.
No,
Like it's over.
nope, it's a wrap on that one, for sure.
Yeah, that's it.
What I did also want to bring up next is this is an interesting project. Well, I take that back. You and I, we are vibe coding developers. I would say to a degree, right?
I would say.
So let me make this bigger. This is Stan Trenev. He is an accomplished smart contract developer. For those who are interested in smart contract development, it is still a premium, specifically if you know Solidity and Rust and anything else that's out there. He felt bored and he vibe coded a neobank in a week, which is it's fine. That seems interesting. But really the coolest part about that is he did this under a week using existing infrastructure. Good infrastructure. Not that's the biggest thing here. You can on-ramp, off-ramp fiat to stables through Bridge XYZ, which is Stripe. You can send, receive. You can send, receive, and request stablecoin payments on Base. It uses Privy and has EIP 7702, so it's a really smooth user experience. Privy is just a wallet based on generally a social or email login. It'll automatically deploy funds to selected blue chip DeFi protocols. My guess is going to be, okay, he says it right here, Aave, Morpho, Compound, and YO. So you'll get, your balance will earn yield while it sits there. You get a free Gnosis Pay crypto debit card. And thanks to, oh, what was the one that I really wanted to push out? I mean, it looks great. This is React Native. This is iOS only, obviously a prototype. But the fact that people can be bored and build stuff like this, Luke, vibe coded it really. I mean, this guy. I mean, the one thing about I can definitely say about vibe coders, myself being a developer for many years, when people who know what they're doing really can get on it, it's shocking that he built this in a week. I mean, it's amazing he built this in a week, and I hope this inspires other people who are watching the show for the first time to know that if you know what you're doing and you have the plan, you can prompt and create something like this with amazing infrastructure. This is all really good infrastructure that he has underneath this. And you even get a crypto debit card that you can spend your money at with the Gnosis Pay. I think it's a Visa card, anywhere in the world. Just wanted to get your initial thoughts on this.
No, I'd actually echo kind of what your sentiment at the end. Like if you can kind of figure out what to do here, like genuinely would encourage anyone listening to kind of, try and take the time to explore these things and, familiarize yourself with AI. Not even just in the sense of like you can build anything, but also if you don't, I think you're kind of going to get left behind. Even just a $20 a month Claude or Codex subscription is good enough to do it. I mean, and as someone who literally has zero coding experience, like I've never actually like written a line of code myself. At this point now, like I've my own GitHub repository where have like 160 commits in it in like a couple of weeks. Like you're really able to learn and iterate fast on these things, and there's a ton that you can do as someone who's non-technical. You kind of just have to throw yourself at it and figure it out as you go. And you can obviously also ask your AI assistant Claude or ChatGPT for help to kind of explain the things that you need to do manually. And that's what I've seen too. And I mean, obviously, this guy's above my pay grade in terms of development. Like I couldn't ship a neobank in a week, but so I guess this is kind of like a glorified example for the amateur vibe coder. But it's a testament to what you can do with AI, really. And I think it kind of plays into what I talked about a little bit earlier with like these companies subsidizing your token usage. Like at some point, I think it's going to be a little bit harder to do this probably in the near future, because I don't think we have the infrastructure to support a lot of token spend, especially at the price that they're offering it. So it's a great time to take advantage of it while you can. And if it doesn't go away, then great. You're obviously able to use the frontier models. If it does, you'll be able to continue to iterate with the lesser models. But yeah, I mean, there's never a better time than to get into it than yesterday. So
I need to share a project actually that Andrew has put together that I wanted to help him advertise, that he's working on specifically with that problem in mind, actually. Gosh. 1 second. The reason why... Oh, here we go. It's called Free LLM Pool. And what it does is it pools the free tiers of 18 LLM providers behind one OpenAI compatible endpoint. As a CLI, works with no API keys. And what's cool about this is in the event that you are looking to, and you can just point your agent, or if you use OpenRouter or anything like that, you can just point your agent to use this. And you'll be able to just have all of these tokens available to you for the purpose of development. Now, this is a massive amount of tokens, I will say, that you're going to grab here. So that's the really cool part. But yeah, it's called Free LLM Pool. It's on GitHub. Feel free to check it out. Support Andrew. Andrew's doing a really great job. We're working on a new offer specifically, Luke, for prediction market arbitrage. So, and he developed this tool to help him kind of pool as much resources, because what he's doing is fairly token intensive. So as you mentioned, right now is the best time to just take advantage of a lot of those those things. So yeah, Free LLM Pool, if you guys are curious. Check it out, use it, feel free to give feedback. Andrew's very excited and proud of putting this together, which I believe which if I'm not mistaken, he vibe coded this. So that part's pretty crazy too. It is I think it's written in Python, if I'm not mistaken. But interestingly enough, Luke, a lot of what Andrew's working in right now is in Rust, and he is not a Rust developer whatsoever. So the power of learning through vibe coding is very powerful right now. And I commend anybody.
I've built stuff I had no idea I could build a year ago. I mean, I've built an agent I talk to every day. I've built multiple websites. Like, there's so much you can do.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing that you can.
I'll also say too, if you're not a designer and you use the Claude design tool, like not the coding terminal, but there's a few ones. Like you can use a web artifact skill, or you can use the actual design terminal. Like you can build like legit graphics. Like they look good. It's very impressive what they've built there.
Oh yeah, I think to me that's like the complete experience of what Claude, Google, OpenAI, and whatever's going on in BitTensor as well has just been very impressive. Uh, it's kind of like a quantum computer, like looking at all the world's problems and just literally trying to solve them all at the same time, especially from a coding experience. Uh, the fact that even Apple's WWDC keynote, which happened on Monday, uh, was 65% AI with regards to what they're doing. I think that's a very interesting sign for what's to come, and hopefully a revolution for, uh, especially with this example that you can build whatever you want. It's now it's going to be up to how you market it, and unfortunately, I don't know
Oh yeah.
how well LLMs are going to do at helping you market and get traction on things. But the number of ideas are out there. Like I tell my developers when I teach all the time, guys, you're not looking to reinvent you're not looking to create a new wheel. The wheel's easily been done. If you just go to GitHub or anywhere else and you have an idea, someone will probably have made that. And if not, that would be very novel and something you should definitely jump on immediately.
Yeah.
So it's gonna get kind of crazy, but no, it's really cool that he's built that. And I know for me with my dev heart, I was like floored. I was like, well, the barrier to entry for this, because we did I think 3 weeks ago we did a little thing on decentralized neobanks or DO banks, and there's at least 30 projects that are in the works to ship sometime this year. So
Wow.
none of this tech is going away. The idea that all of the banks are now moving to blockchain rails into a field where bunches of small developers like Stan there is creating something to make it so anyone with self-custody or anyone in this space can embrace self-custody and spend and manage their own funds much better than a bank ever will, to be quite honest, with a better front end. It's gonna be an interesting ride. You see Jamie Dimon just poo-pooing crypto left and right over the past week, and that's the reason why projects like this that could change everything. So
Just ignore that guy, anyways.
I know I do.
Yeah, he sucks.
He sucks. All right, so next story I wanted to cover is RWAs, and the story here is with Athena, which the two largest stablecoin projects by market cap. Tether, of course, has had the market lead for years. Circle with USDC is now roughly almost 30% of the market share, depending on how you look at it. But number 3 has been a race for a while. It was MakerDAO with DAI. That's definitely changed as Athena has come through and kind of just taken a lot of this space by storm with what you can do with yield-bearing stablecoins. They started off by offering a gigantic amount of return. I mean, they were just giving 3 to 4%, which was great because it was part of the validator staking rewards they were getting to pass off to holders. But then they added Bitcoin and ETH futures, and that jumped the yield to a ridiculous amount. And now they are going into RWAs with a product that's not BlackRock, which I think is the interesting part here. We're going to see more of these relationships start to build. Janus Henderson has $480 billion in assets under management. So not a small fund at all. But what they're going to be doing is supporting Athena's CLO offerings. Now, CLO is called a collateralized loan collateralized loan obligation product. I'm having Big Short memories here for some reason. It's an MBS, a mortgage-backed security. This is a CLO, or Well, remember CBOs were CBOs, man, those were pretty interesting with mortgages, where you're literally just packaging crap that's wrapped in crap to then market it to degenerate investors. What's interesting about CLOs is that they're going to take a lot of Athena product and they're going to bundle it through various vaults, whatever that is there on the backside, and provide them in risk graded tranches. The CLO will actually give you ownership or fund units that back what's going to be coming out with these RWA stablecoins. That will most likely they're saying USDE, but it's most likely USDTB, which is USDTB is technically the Treasury bill, the T-bill, backed stablecoin from Athena. So it could be USDE as another source to continue bringing more yield back to holders. Now the JAAA partnership is through Centrifuge as the tokenization partner. So Centrifuge will be creating the units to then distribute to clients. So I guess, Luke, in a microcosm, in a microscope of an environment, this is a very cool way for hopefully other types of stablecoins that are not Tether and not Circle to gain traction out here we'll just call it the real world. So I know that this can be a little bit of, as you said, just something that comes into question. But seeing big funds get behind the tech and wanting to try to run the experiment to see how well asset-backed stablecoins can really work in this space, I think is an interesting move. Do you have any thoughts?
No, I agree with you. I mean, I feel like to some extent we're going to see probably a lot of things be tokenized on chain with RWAs. I was talking to a buddy about this the other day. It's like, crypto, like altcoins are just a test run. Like they're just going to tokenize everything. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I feel like we haven't seen a lot of it yet, but, it seems like, to examples like this, it's kind of, maybe the first steps towards more traction with stuff like that.
Exactly. And while we probably won't see your everyday stablecoin run to something like this, some of the more recent things that have come out, like for example MoneyGram has their tokenized stablecoin now. You could see them partnering to become bigger. PayPal is probably number 4 or 5 at this point by market cap, or even Paxos's USDG, which is a consortium of 30 plus people inside of their universe. We could see more of these deals starting to happen to bring these stablecoins closer to being institutional friendly, I guess would be the word I would use, or at least something that institutions can have more confidence in putting some weight behind. So Tether's been around forever. Tether is in many ways the backbone of digital assets from a stablecoin perspective because they hold so much market share. They know that their time having more than 75% was not going to last very long. It's effectively lasted almost eight years now. As more of these stablecoin companies come to light, we could see, as you said, we're early. There's a whole bunch of things that are going to happen. It would be a very interesting time to see if Tether is no longer the market leader in stablecoins, and something like this that has real big money behind it becomes that. So buckle up.
Buckle up indeed.
Buckle up indeed. Next article. So just to kind of go back to the regulatory portion of this, because RWAs are very much a part of that. The hat tip here to Jake Travinsky. 60 founders, including, Chameleon Jeff, which is he's the CEO of Hyperliquid, or co-founder of Hyperliquid. They drafted a letter to the 2 biggest Senate leaders. That would be John Thune from South Dakota. He's the Senate Majority Leader. And then you have Chuck Schumer from New York, who is the Minority Leader in the Senate. And effectively, they're really just talking about, not necessarily for clarity passing just to pass, but also for the BRCA, which is the Blockchain Regulatory Certainty Act. The reason why this is important is because this provides specific protections for decentralized finance developers, entities, anything that deals with a blockchain, and even adjacent tech. The key here is having this signed so it goes through. The problem being, this is dated yesterday. The recess happens in July for a little bit. Senator Cynthia Lummis, who's a huge part of this passing through, has said, has been scooped by saying that this probably doesn't make it to the floor by July 4th due to other issues. Those other issues we've covered on multiple shows, Luke, about optics, about ethics, about the banks, again, trying to lobby to stop all of this from happening. At this point, because the midterms are such a big issue, between now and November, if they don't get this on the floor before July 4th, I don't think this thing passes at all. I've been bearish on this the entire year.
I agree
Do you
with
have
you.
any specific thoughts on if you're bullish or bearish on if this passes?
No, I agree with you. I mean, they've been dragging their feet about it forever. I mean, what's going to change? It's the U.S. Congress. I feel like most things don't get done.
Yeah, that's
I wish I had more to add, but
no, you're right. I mean, and really there isn't much to add. Just hopefully, so the SEC, the CFTC, and the FDIC have all made statements supporting what is in this BRCA overall, right? Having the BRCA pass protects people like Roman Storm, like other developers who have developed products that have had controversial uses of them. Getting this into actual signed law will provide a good foundation, and frankly, even if the rest of the foundation will probably suck moving forward, if we're being very honest, at least it can't be just executive ordered out of sight once the administration changes over. So we'll see specifically what happens, but just wanted to kind of touch on this because we've been talking about this for months. Yeah, it's not looking good. And hopefully, with people who are watching, they can talk to their senators. There's 9 that need to be flipped to get to that 60 that they're going to need. So, also looking at big news, I thought this was interesting. So, one big use of blockchain technology, Luke, is logistics, supply chain logistics, third-party logistics. Many people may not know that Amazon, Walmart, and multiple other commerce retailers have been using blockchain for quite some time in pilot programs because the immutability of your supply chain is actually quite important. You can't manipulate that. That's one thing that they really liked about the technology. They still use it for that reason. It's also fast. Blockchain's not the most efficient thing out there, let's be very honest, but its immutability, the ability to have smart contracts and stuff. So Merck has come up with a scanning digital product passport product where Hedera, which is a layer 1 blockchain well known for their privacy with their Hedera hash graph for years, and it's really just aimed at like sovereign governments and institutions, enterprise. They've had a supply chain pilot that's being powered by Hedera that's going to work across foods, pharmaceuticals, luxury goods, and beyond. So, yeah, I think this is a very interesting idea. Now, this is in the EU specifically because it's very regulated in the EU. Maybe not so much here, but the fact that this technology is available, which I didn't even know was a thing, is good. This just shows that, again, from an education standpoint, everyone looks at blockchain and they think of NFTs, they think of Bitcoin, and they feel one way or another. Guys, the technology is here to be applied across multiple industries, and it already has been and is continuing to innovate. So maybe I'm just trying to reach out, Luke, to people who are non-believers that just think this is all just crap. But guess what, guys? half the world is going to be running on this by the end of the year, on everyday products you use, everyday things you do. I've always touted this as the future of finance, but also the future of how we're going to be doing business. And this is a really good uh, piece of that thesis.
Completely agree.
Excellent. All right, so we'll talk about a couple more things before we head home and talk about what's new with Vanta. But Morpho raises one of the biggest raises in DeFi history to build the open.
Raise.
It's a huge raise to build the open credit network for the world. And really, it's really this one here, which is Ribbit, which is from Mickey Malka. Original investor in Coinbase, obviously very, very wealthy VC and angel, along with A16Z and Paradigm. And if you just look at the rest of the names here, all gigantic people in this industry, specifically Vanek, Wintermute, Hashkey, SBI, which is Japanese. Cathay is interesting. I think that's Singaporean. And then Apollo, and all of these people have been here forever. Now, the idea of what that means is a little murky. So, and this is a very, let's just say it's a very 10,000-foot view of what they're doing. But the idea, this is really just to help Morpho continue to get to be a better product. For those of you who have never been to Morpho is what we consider an AMM, an automated lending market. And they have these vaults that you can, put collateral into, and then you get a return on it because your collateral is, with its exposure, being used for multiple different strategies across all of the different blockchains that are available through cross-chain vaults and stuff like that. One thing they're coming out with soon is something called Morpho Midnight, which is very Pendle-like in terms of they provide fixed rate float farming, as well as the idea is that they call it zero coupon bonds, and then you have offer-based lending for loans, which is something that our friends at Term Finance we've had on the show also do as well. So Morpho taking the best of two ideas in a way and putting it here along with all of this money loot to create how they turn that into on-chain credit, not really sure, or open credit, still not sure, but will be very interesting to see how this kind of all comes together. I know these rates look a little crazy, specifically this Gauntlet USDT, which pays out 13%. Most of that in the CAT token.
That is nuts.
Well, that's on Katana. So Katana is a smaller blockchain. It's a layer 2. It's an experiment from GCR as well as Polygon as a really cool boutique blockchain where it's all chain-owned liquidity. So everything there is there to generate revenue, generate value for CAT holders as they continue to stake long term. Even this one here, Alpha USDT Prime, this is on Hyper EVM. That's the Ethereum facing version of Hyperliquid as a chain that's part of the Hyperliquid core experience. You're going to deposit USDT 0, which is omni-chain Tether. So it's a stable coin that can be used on all blockchains, native for Tether. You get exposure to Altura, which is a fantastic platform that they also take the USDT and put it in very good hedging, delta neutral, and other liquidity creating strategies to, that's a ridiculous number at 13.5%. Do we have an, yeah, and it's all based on what happens with Altura. So even Altura is a great platform. We feature a lot in our mastermind, in our communities, as something to get into. But the idea here is that you want to make sure that, of course, this all looks great. Do not put all your money into something like this. You want to have an allocated, very balanced view of that. So, last thing we'll talk about before we head home. Actually, yeah, it's on agents. MasterCard is now putting out their agent framework. Well, I guess we're at that point in the simulation, Luke, where agents are going to become the UX.
Doesn't surprise me, man.
Doesn't
It's only
surprise
a
me
matter of
either.
time before it blows up more.
Yeah, if you look at everybody who's being put up here, these are all groups that are going to have some sort of agentic front end to working with Mastercard. So for anyone who's a little who doesn't really know a ton about this, to kind of set it up, agents are digital programs that can act on behalf of you. You can give an agent. I would not give an agent access to my bank account, but you could give it access to an account that has some money that you top up consistently, and then you can do multiple things for you. Uh, Google was very open at Google I/O 2 weeks ago by saying that agents are the future of their user experience. I'm going to say that this is going to be happening across multiple industries. Pardon me, not just Google's products. There are multiple standards out there. You have Google's X402, not Google, Coinbase's X402 agent payment system. You have Google's A2A agent framework, and Stripe has one as well that's coming soon that's backed by their layer one called Tempo. And MasterCard and Visa are going to be working around the clock to try and figure out how to get all of these cats herded together into one great user experience that you're never going to see. So all of these demos where you see people like, go fetch me some concert tickets. They'll be using something like this to take care of all of that. The future of what that is with natural language, Luke, I think is going to be, it's going to be here sooner than later. And that
I
is,
tend to agree.
yeah, I think that's kind of a scary thing, if I'm being very honest, because I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop for someone to totally do the wrong thing, and their security goes absolutely bananas bad, and we see the first big agentic exploit. That's the one thing that I'm very scared to see, but is probably going to need to happen to continue this move, right?
I agree. That will be bad news, though, whenever that unfortunately will probably happen.
So tell me, Luke, how do you feel about agents? How do you trust them? Do you feel that they're going to be the future of user experience?
I think so. I think there's a massive use case for them, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least for I think what you kind of need to do is obviously build it with some level of guardrails, which I'm sure, anyone who's being diligent about it is probably doing those things. Otherwise, you're kind of giving I don't know. I always think it's such a stupid analogy, but I always think of this like video that's like a meme of like a chimpanzee with an AK-47, like, and it's just like shooting, and there's like people around, and it's just like out of control. So for to control an agent, like you need to have certain guardrails in your code, and you'd mentioned GitHub earlier, like that's just obviously one way you can do it. But yeah, that's kind of where I stand. I mean, it seems to me like it's going to continue to grow, probably exponentially, and it's one of these things that as a someone who's in tech, you want to get in front of. I mean, we even see it now with like agentic trading. Like we just put our own first agentic trading model on Vanta, and it was built by Arash completely. And these things are going to continue to get better. And it ties into our discussion earlier with markets. Like it's gonna, you think, okay, how are agents going to impact markets? They're going to impact everything. So you can think about that across tons of different use cases. I mean, I think about sales, agentic sales agents, for example. So it's only going to continue to grow.
That's fantastic that Arash built that. I guess my question for you is just with that lens. Was there a rush, like a priority to push this to market as quickly as possible? Not necessarily as a first mover thing, but really just to provide better automation, because agents can also bring that. So I just kind of want to get your thoughts on overall why agents, especially in trading, with what you guys are bringing at Vanta, will probably be a better experience overall for the end user.
Well, I mean, first thing, I mean, as a trader, right? Like I can't be up 24 hours a day, but an agent can. I
Yes.
think if you have a profitable trader or an agentic, trader for you, that's really a huge value prop. So from our perspective, it was like, how do we enable agents to integrate with our platform? So I mean, I guess I'm not too versed on, um, the nitty gritty side of it, but I think we built out like an SDK for agents to plug in, all sorts of things that allowed agents to integrate in various ways. Because I think it's our expectation that people are going to continue to develop agentic trading solutions that can turn profits for you 24/7. Um, so I'm curious to see how it grows. I think, from the early iterations of what I've seen on agentic trading, like it's not easy. It's still very hard to beat the markets, but at the end of the day, like these things are only going to get better. So we'll see how that impacts markets over time. I wonder, this is kind of a sidebar, but it makes me wonder how it'll structurally change how markets move. Because obviously, if everyone in the world is taking the same position at the same time, that doesn't really work. So
No, I think it's a great point, right? Because that's something that we've actually been talking about with our new prediction market arbitrage offering. Is that if everyone has an agent that can go through and look at the situation like a prediction market, and then we're all doing it at the same time, are we all technically becoming market makers, right?
right,
So that's kind of the other part too, is like, at what point does having agents in the fray, especially when someone will be able to suddenly start deploying dozens of agents at the same time, which is probably, if it's not already happened, I'll be shocked, can, as you said, affect price movement in a very either positive or negative way, to the point where we don't really know, even from signal purposes, whether or not even like basic patterns could be. I think basic patterns for trading could also change based off of something like
yeah,
this as well. Um, all in the name of saving us from ourselves, right?
right,
Which is, yeah, that's the part that's the most fascinating to me. I think with agentic trading definitely starting to rear its head in multiple conversations I've had. Um,
likewise,
And with the market now going 24/7, at least on CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange for futures, with just a 1 hour maintenance window every Sunday, we're now in an age where, as you said, 24/7, 365, anywhere in the world, someone can come over and start trading markets globally, which is probably the one thing that will be the biggest boon for, especially, how can I be nice about it? Older traders, people that have been around for a while that don't necessarily understand the technology. They're just learning how high frequency trading works now. But to have an agent do it for you, and you just kind of set some basic parameters that you can, program yourself, and then suddenly you're out there doing that. Or even if you're using an agent to copy trade something, that's around out there too.
right.
Um, Yeah, I'm very interested to see how agents will change the way that markets trade, the way the markets price. Um, it's pretty exciting in my opinion.
Feels like possibilities are endless. I'm curious to see how it plays out over the next 10 years. I mean, the great part is we'll get to see it in real time. We can
Exactly.
speculate all we want, but we'll see soon enough, I think. So,
We get to see it in real time. That's kind of the coolest part about that, I think. I totally forgot that we have comments, so just wanted to say hello to people who have made comments. One for Greg here. Doesn't Morpho let you use leverage? Yes, that'll be part of what's going on with what Morpho is doing. Um, oh, shout out to LinkedIn. We are on LinkedIn for the first time ever with this broadcast. So anyone who's watching us on LinkedIn, hello, welcome to the show. Thanks for watching. Of course, shout out to everyone at on Twitter who's watching, as well as on the arena, on Avalanche, arena.social. Thanks for joining us on the show today. We do this show every week, Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern. I want to thank, of course, Luke for being here and just being one of our most favorite panelists and guests that's here. Let's go ahead and bring up two things first. Let's bring up the Vanta, the Taoshi website, which is the umbrella company for Vanta. Does Vanta actually have a website that's
oh man,
rolling
don't
right
bring
now?
up the Tashi website. We gotta
Okay.
throw that thing out. We're
Is
actually
there
gonna throw it out. Yeah,
Is there a Vanta trade?
VantaTrading.io.
Got it.
Yeah, we gotta redo
There
that.
we
So,
go.
yep,
And
that's
of
what we
course
got
the
going on.
consistency. Gotta love it.
Got the big partnership with Wall Street Bets that came out yesterday.
Oh, that's huge news, man. Let's talk
Monday?
about that,
Oh, maybe it
please.
was Monday. I'm losing my mind. Yeah, it was Monday. Yeah, so partnered with Wall Street Bets. 55% off all challenges. Yeah, so we're just chugging along, man. A ton of signups in the last few days. So that was obviously exciting. Um, yeah.
That's amazing. So if you could take a quick second to kind of describe to everyone just the really cool mechanism behind Vanta with the prop trading
Yeah.
mech that you guys have, please do.
Yeah, so essentially, what we built is we look at it as a next gen decentralized prop trading platform. So typically with prop trading platforms, if you're not familiar with the space, it's a way to get extra funding in your trades. If you're able to prove your skill set and performance, you'll be able to trade with an account size for whichever designated offer you signed up for. So generally, it ranges from 5K to 200K in prop trading. We offer 5K to 100K, and then we have a free $1,000 account version to try out the platform. But the difference what we're doing is, so we have the underlying tech and kind of funding engine, performance validation, et cetera, is Vanta Network, which is built on subnet 8 of BitTensor. So that really is kind of what powers our platform, and what you're seeing is just the centralized piece for users to engage with. So we have all these options. You can come in, trade, and I think that our product is really different from a lot of what you see in the prop space, and we'd really like to try and go after a lot of these top names, because no one else in the space is giving out 100% profit splits. So what that means is generally, if you say you pass your evaluation, you have a funded account, you make $1,000. Most of the time, you'll get 800 of that dollars, or 900. Whereas with us at Vanta, you get to keep everything. You can grow your account up to 2.5 million, things of that nature. So all the information's on our website if you're interested. Feel free to go take a look. You can try it out for free for $1,000. I think we're rolling them out, the $1,000 accounts, in waves every day because demand has been so high. So just kind of rolling them out in intervals, because the team is offline overnight US hours, so don't need like an influx of traders overnight, and then people coming into the Discord and whatnot. So it's a staged rollout, but yeah, that's where we're at right now, man. So a lot going down. I think we got a lot more in the pipeline here too with our hyperliquid trading side. I think we're really pivoting for it more to be kind of an infrastructure play. So if for example, if you run a marketing agency, or you have a traders on a platform of yours already kind of looking to team up with those sorts of firms to offer the hyperliquid option as more of a DeFi native prop funding option. So where you essentially would just be trading on your own hyperliquid account, and you can have extra funding through Vanta Network surfaced in hyperliquid itself. So that's where we're at right now, man. I think really just looking to continue pushing onboard traders, build out our strategy pipeline, and we'll go from there. It's obviously an exciting time, and just gotta take down these legacy prop firms.
Hey, love that. We love supporting stuff like that, especially here in the decentralized space. Yeah, I mean, Subnet 8's been around for quite some time. It's become a very reliable signal processor, I think, and you guys have some of the best traders on the planet helping provide really good signal, I think, for how it's been able to perform so well. So, yeah, that's vantatrading.io, guys. Definitely check that out. Luke, I really appreciate you being here, brother. It's always good to have
Yeah,
you
thanks
back.
for
And
having me, man. Always a
I had
pleasure
no idea
to
you guys
get
put
back
this
on
out. This
scene.
is amazing for Wall Street Bets. This is a great partnership for you guys.
Yeah. Hopefully, you can bring in some of their community and have some fun with it. I mean, we've already seen a big influx, so definitely exciting. Obviously, lots of valuable feedback too, which is great. So we're shipping as we go. I think it's important just keep on chugging. We'll see what we could do.
And definitely join the Discord as well, guys. Something I definitely recommend that you do. It gives you a way to have access to the team, give your feedback in real time, and gets you the quickest information on all the announcements they'll be doing here specifically with Vanta. And that's 55% off all challenges until June 22nd. So if you know anybody who's looking to just prove themselves, get in on this. This is a huge deal.
The
That
only other
Wall Street
thing
Bets is
I'll add
partnering.
too,
Go ahead.
ties into our earlier conversation, is Vanta Labs. If you take a look at the top there,
Yeah.
we're still working on getting this ready, but you'll have an agentic terminal essentially into the platform where you can kind of. I'm still trying to understand it personally, but my understanding right now is what it'll be is essentially a way for you to talk with an LLM and kind of use agentic swarms to help optimize your trading strategies. So that'll be a really cool option. Kind of ties into the conversation on agentic trading and markets and whatnot. So I'm excited to play around with that too once we have that ready to go.
And my guess is it's based off of SN8 signal. Up to this point, everything that's been ever done has been popped into these agent chats that you're talking to.
I don't think it actually is. I think it's really, I think Arash and our quant team have kind of built out this infrastructure that allows you to kind of work to build agentic strategies in an optimized, safe environment,
Okay.
instead of like optimizing based off of past data from other traders. So it's a little different in that sense. So I think my understanding of it is like, say I have like a strategy or what have you that I kind of want to come in and try and optimize. You'd be able to use Vanta Labs for that, or you can come in and build one from scratch. So it's the same idea that you come in, you're signing up to get a funded account, and then you can use the agentic features to kind of build out your own swarm for trading strategies. So it's interesting. I think we're trying to get in front of that. Obviously, it's something that Arash is really focused on. Something I think we're all quite excited about. We'll see how it goes. I think better to be early than late. So we'll see what the traction is early on. But I'm excited about it.
No, I think it's great because you get to optimize as you go, as opposed to, you know,
Right.
everyone's looking at backtesting. Uh, Ultimately, you guys are optimizing a different way to look at it, and I think that's really interesting. I think it's a refreshing take, if I'm being honest, because people can say that, oh, on Coinbase they've used Perplexity to take every single trade that's ever been done on Coinbase and use that as part of their model. This is a different way to look at it. I think that's very cool. So I think if you're a serious trader and you're looking for a great place to sign up, I know quite a few serious traders I think would very much benefit from this. Uh, yeah, this is a way for you to get in and help shape, I guess, what will be the future of agentic trading.
Yeah, it's gonna be sweet, man.
Awesome. Yeah, check it out, guys. Again, vantatrading.io, VANTA trading.io. Excellent stuff here. Glad to see that this is all coming together. Really excited just to see how uh, just this partnership just gets you guys out there, because that's so huge. That
Yeah,
Wall
it'll be
Street Bets
sweet,
is
man.
trading with you. Yeah, man. Excellent. So happy for you guys. Well, if you like what you heard, please like and follow. We definitely have some milestones we're looking to get on all platforms, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's uh, YouTube, Twitch. Thanks so much for joining us today. The Arena, of course. And check out school.com/beacon. This is our website where you can learn more about decentralized finance, how to become a crypto or DeFi native blockchain investor through our content. We have plenty of free content. Check out our free start here. Check out our start here post. We get access to where all our free content is, a message from myself and our CEO Andrew, and you can get access to learn more about our paid plans. We do have paid offerings for one-on-one mentorship, for being a select group of like-minded investors, and real-time access to myself. You can pick my brain and learn more about what it takes to have longevity in this space, if I'm being very honest. So, safety and security is the biggest thing that we push, so be prepared for that. If you come to our website, we're going to talk about security all day long. So if that's something that vibes with you, if that resonates with you, please give us a look, tell your friends about us. Again, totalvaluelockschool.com/beacon. And there we go. Guys, we do this show every
Yeah.
Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Please follow Luke. Luke's _trades on Twitter, correct?
Yeah, that sounds right.
All right.
Close enough.
Or just look him
I
up.
think that's it.
Obviously, we'll put his handle in the comments for this as well if you're watching us on Twitter. Yeah, we'll be back next week with another really great panel. There's a lot of really interesting stuff going out there right now. Please be very careful, guys. There's also a lot, especially if you're developing, because we did talk a lot about developing right now. There are some pretty bad supply chain worms that are out there, so please be very careful. Make sure you if you're vibe coding, prompt your agents to do their best to avoid certain things. So yeah, with that said, we'll see you next week. Again, Luke, thanks for being here. Any final thoughts before you head out?
No, man, I got nothing. I think we covered it all.
Excellent. Well, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for joining us. As we say here in the show, beacons up, banks down. Take care, everybody. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.